So hey guys, I got some very sad news per se. Obviously, because we find ourselves in a huge COVID-19 pandemic, and we have because of that huge economic turmoil, economic down. A lot of us find ourselves at home, quarantine as we speak, and also unfortunately, most of us find ourselves jobless or unemployed, and because of that we have lost not just a money income flow into our households, but as well we have lost healthcare because of that. And imagine being in a pandemic right now and a huge health crisis and not having healthcare insurance coverage at all. That must be fucking crazy. Not just you have to worry about the fact that you don't have a job and you have no income to buy food, to pay rent, to pay bills, but also not having healthcare insurance coverage, and just in case one of your family members or yourself get infected by the virus. So let's go and see what's currently going on in the news about this. Obviously, a couple weeks ago, actually not weeks ago, last week, we find out that 2.5 million people had signed up for unemployment benefits just in the United States in a matter of a couple of days, maybe 2 days after the huge market went down and stuff like that. And now, April 2nd, I think, yeah, April 2nd, 6.6 million people have signed up for unemployment benefits compared to the 3.5 million or 3.1 million that were expected. 6.6, and this number will keep rising as we continue this huge economic turndown. And I'm sure it will get very high, might get to 10 million, we don't know. But a lot of people obviously find themselves jobless, no income, and everyone is claiming unemployment benefits insurance. And obviously, because of that, 6.6 million people have applied, and this is a huge record high number in the United States history. And obviously, this is because of the coronavirus. And it says right here, it's 10 million unemployed in 2 weeks. Right? 6.6 million first time claims this week. 3.3 million last week. 10 million Americans have lost their jobs in the past 2 weeks. 10 million. And just like I previously said, they just not lost their jobs, and obviously they're asking for insurance benefits, or I don't mean unemployment benefits, but also there are people who can even claim insurance benefits because they don't have any, because their employer doesn't offer any. And there are others, they are independent workers, they're self-employed, and they don't have healthcare coverage, they don't have health insurance. So just like this couple right here, her husband happens to be self-employed, but obviously he's jobless because of the huge situation we find ourselves in. And her employer in the side of her job did not offer healthcare insurance or unemployment insurance. And she finds herself in a situation where obviously she cannot pay bills or pay for her food or her family, her child. But also she has a $2,000 bill or healthcare insurance bill on top of her that is cruelly necessary to survive, as she got tested positive for the coronavirus. And in this interview, you'll see her asking Joe Biden, look, we find ourselves in this situation where my husband, obviously he's self-employed, doesn't have healthcare insurance coverage. We pay $2,000 per month for healthcare. We don't have any right now because of the situation we're going through. I have tested positive for coronavirus. I don't want my family to do it. What are you going to do, or what are you planning to do, or what are you going to do for people like us? So let's see what he has to say about this.
Mask to protect my family, as I've been diagnosed based on my symptoms for the coronavirus. Although I cannot be tested due to the limited number of tests available here in New York City. My husband and I are both hardworking, college-educated Americans who, like countless other Americans, will suffer as a result of this pandemic. I work full-time for a small company that does not offer health benefits. My husband is a freelancer. We currently pay over $2,000 a month for health insurance for our family of 3. My question for you is that when our savings account inevitably runs out due to him not being able to work right now, what is it that we sacrifice? Do we sacrifice food, rent, or health care?
You should not have to sacrifice anything. Let me say that again. You should not have to sacrifice anything. Not just because it's the fair thing to be taking care of your entire family and every family in your circumstance, but because it's best for the whole country, the entire economy. It's not just doing a favor for any individual. Number one, your health care, you should not have to pay a penny for testing, and it should be available to you by now. We were promised it a while ago. It should be available for you to be tested and determine what needs to be done. Number two, the House just passed an unemployment proposal that increases by $600 the unemployment insurance you'd get, whether or not you were you had been covered by unemployment insurance or paid into it before, including your husband, who may have been, he's a entrepreneur on his own, doesn't have employees. You will be covered. And that should be done, but that requires the federal government to help the states set up the unemployment offices in a way that they can handle this enormous call on the need for being the unemployment insurance. Thirdly, the cost of a test should be absolutely zero for you, number one. And number two, I think the House and the Senate are going to have to go back and make sure anything
So there you guys have it. This is what Joe Biden had to say about this situation, about this couple that find themselves not being able to afford not just the bills that they have to pay in a monthly basis, but also the healthcare insurance bill that they need in order for them to survive in this situation of a health crisis. Joe Biden, basically what he had the fucking nerve to say to this couple was, look, I understand that you cannot pay your bills, and you shouldn't go through this. And then repeat, you should not be able to go through this. You should be able to pay everything. Everything should be covered for you. But the only solution I have for you is, you know what? The test for the coronavirus should be free. And there's like, what about my healthcare insurance bill, $2,000? Oh, no. That will be available to you. So you mean like it's gonna get paid for me, or it's gonna get coverage, or it's gonna get, is that expense gonna be taken care of by the government or anything like that? No. It's just gonna be available to you. You're gonna be able to. It's gonna be available to you. It's available now for $2,000. And all your solution is, you know what? I believe the test should be free. Period. What about the treatment? What about the treatment if I get sick? My family gets sick. Oh no. Not that. No, I don't believe in that. I don't believe you should be entirely built for that. I believe. So you brought no fucking solution to her problem. You just told her, oh, look, the test is going to be free. Go get it. Right now, there's no test. Like, people want to get tested. People who think that they might have the disease, they carry the thing. I was like, oh, where could I get tested? Oh, it's not enough available tests available. So you can't get tested. There's no test anywhere. Even Donald Trump was like, that most of us have been tested. The most amount of people here in the United States, all around the world, we have the most amount of people getting tested all over the world, and that's a lie. There's no test. How can people get tested when there's no test? There's not sufficient enough tests. And then we have Joe Biden voicing the same thing, voicing over the same thing, saying, "Oh, yeah, we had tests." No, we don't. We don't even have tests. And then he says, "Oh yeah, that test should be free." What about the treatment? What about the motherfucking treatment? People have no healthcare insurance. You know what? He had the fucking nerves to bring the fact that right now, obviously, the Senate just passed a huge economic bill to help people get $1,200 one time, and also a $600 check by the government besides the unemployment benefits you get on the side. And you know who fought that shit for? You know who got us those $600? Bernie fucking Sanders. It wasn't Joe Biden. It wasn't no one. It wasn't Elizabeth Warren. It wasn't no one. It was Bernie freaking Sanders, who went out there by himself and stood up against 4 fucking Republican politicians who were against giving $600 extra dollars. And he was the only one who stood in front of them. He said, in a moment of crisis where people need money to survive, to pay their bills, you should not be coming after this $600 that is going to help people. Because some people might get unemployment benefits money, but some others won't. And even if you get unemployment benefit money, you should also get some aid from the government. So we give extra $600 to those people. Like my mom, she's getting an unemployment benefits money, and she's gonna get that $600 on top of that. Now, those, like he said, those people who is not gonna get unemployment benefit money, but he's gonna get that $600 because of Bernie Sanders, because he was the only one who had the motherfucking balls to go out there and fight for those $600. No one. Everyone's like, "Oh, you alone this one, Bernie. I don't know how you're gonna defend it." And he went out there and defended it, and he fucking said to these Republicans, "Look, right now you're trying to pass a bill that is mainly only gonna help the ultra mega rich because you're giving them trillions of dollars and no strings attached, nothing. You're just giving them money. You're bailing them out. But in this case, we find ourselves in a crisis. People need money to pay their bills, so I'm gonna vote for it. The only way you're gonna get my vote if you agree to give this extra $600 to the people. Let them have it. You're already giving them a lot of money to the private insurance, to the private sector. All right, don't come after $600 for people, man. That's disgusting." And he said, "If you dare to come after it, then I'm not gonna vote for your stupid bill, and I'm gonna hold for it. And let me see the text for that trillions of dollars that you're giving to the private sector. Let me see it, and we're gonna debate on it. I'm gonna change some other stuff." And because the Republicans like, no, we can't let Bernie come in and try to change some of the shit that we made to benefit the private sector. So, okay, Bernie, you can have these $600. And they all voted for it. You saw it, right? They just recently passed it in the bill. Everyone voted for it. No one voted against it. But Bernie Sanders was the only one there fighting his ass off to get just $600, which is fucking nothing too, but it was some help. And he was the only fucking one who had the motherfucking balls to go out there. And then Joe Biden has the fucking name and says, "You know what? Tests should be free." And that's it. It's disgusting. Why should we have this motherfucker as our fucking Democratic nominee? Why? It doesn't make any sense. This guy doesn't believe in nothing. Doesn't stand for no one more than himself and the private insurance companies, the corporations. The same thing as Trump. It's just both of them are fucking inept. They're fucking out of touch. They don't offer nothing. We don't find hope in them. They don't stand for nothing more than bullshit. And people fucking. I don't want to blame boomers or most of older voters because I'm sure some of them both in favor of progress, but most of you guys have gone out there and voted for Joe Biden and people like Trump, man. This is the fucking future that you guys offering us. This is what we had to live for another 4, maybe 10 years because Bernie Sanders is not going to be able to run again. And that's their goal. That's the Democratic platform or Democratic Party goal. They know that Bernie Sanders doesn't have another 4 years or another chance to run again. So they said, you know what? We prefer Donald Trump to get reelected because we know that Joe Biden is a really bad candidate and more likely he's going to lose to Trump. And this is what we stand for. This is what we are. In economic and in a health crisis, most of our leaders do not support or do not give a flying fuck about us. Just think about that for the future. These people don't care. The Democrats don't give a fuck. The Republicans don't give a fuck. But in this case, we have also someone who stands for us. Bernie fucking Sanders. He's the only one who keeps talking about the fact that people don't have health insurance. That we should cover them. Not just the test, the treatment. Not just for the COVID-19, but also for cancer, for diabetes, for other diseases. Everything should be free at the point of service. And not free in the fact that, we're not going to pay for it. We're going to pay a little bit more taxes. People that make over $75,000, they're going to pay more. They're going to have to pay more in taxes. A little bit more, not much. But you're going to save money, lower cost. But you're going to have full coverage of healthcare. We're gonna spend Medicare in the amount of 4 years. Everyone's gonna be covered. No one's gonna be left out. That's what we want. We want a system that works for everyone. A lot of people's like, but you cannot do nothing without the private sector. Yes, because they've been dominating the market for many years. Obviously, you cannot do much without them. But when you introduce a new system that is one-to-one, us with the government paying directly to the government, no middleman increasing fucking co-payments and premiums and shit like that. It's just purely for healthcare service, coverage, and care. Then it's going to be a lower cost. Yes, we're going to have to pay for it. But right now you saw, right? They gave $1 trillion to the private companies for no fucking reason. They just gave it to them. Just bail them out. We have socialism for the rich and rigged individualism for the poor. That's what we have. We have capitalism for the poor and socialism for the rich.